everyone, and welcome to your 14 Days of Yoga Challenge. I'm Emma, and I will be guiding you through the next 2 weeks of videos and yoga sequences to help you build your yoga practice and to create that habit of a daily yoga practice. So you've already done or completed the first step of beginning the habit, which is to arrive here on your mat and start the video. So that's all you have to do for the next couple of days. The one thing I ask of you to do is sit on your mat and start the video, because by even taking those 2 actions, you've created the environment to make it easy for your body to move. And often just promising that you'll do 5 minutes of the video, or just promising to yourself that you will sit on the mat, is enough to do more than 5 minutes, up to like 5 to 20 minutes of yoga, and maybe do more after the video is ended. So these are just some simple, easy steps to help trick your mind into beginning with a new habit. So anyways, to begin, we're going to start with some foundations today, and we're going to start in mountain pose at the top of our mat. Throughout the practice, throughout the weeks, we may move location here and there, but today my favorite place to do yoga is outside, so I thought we'd begin with some outside yoga, even if it's in the snow. Okay, so to begin, take your feet hip-width distance apart. We're going to create a nice foundation here in mountain pose. Bring the hands either at the heart or by your sides. And normally when we begin a yoga sequence, we like to arrive here on the mat, so take a couple of deep breaths. Fantastic exercise to help us be present in the moment. Just maybe notice 3 things you hear, 3 things you can feel, just to take your mind away from those busy thoughts. Right now I hear the river, some birds, and a car in the distance. Very nice. So we're going to engage this mountain pose and create more alignment here. So to begin, we're going to very gently pull the kneecaps in and up. Little birds come to join us. Pull the kneecaps up here to engage the quads. From here, we're going to tuck the lower ribs in and very gently engage the glutes, just so we're not doing this forward tilt of the pelvis. We want to bring it into a neutral position here and tuck the ribs in. Take a breath just like that. And roll the shoulder blades down your back. Tuck your chin in ever so slightly and reach the top of the head up for the sky. Very nice. On the next inhale, reach the hands up. Keep those holding positions. Make sure those ribs don't jut out as we do this and the hips or the pelvis doesn't slip. Hold it up here. On the exhale, release the legs, bend those knees, come down into a forward fold. So forward fold may be tricky, and especially if you're doing this in the morning, we don't want to strain the hamstrings. You may feel like you're rounding a lot here. So all I ask for you to do if you're rounding the back is to just bend the knees a little bit further until you can hinge from those hips and find that length in the lower back. So we don't want to be rounding here. We want to have it nice and lengthened. So maybe your forward fold is here, and that's totally okay. Just try and find some comfort in this nice hamstring stretch position. Maybe work your way down. Maybe try and straighten the legs just a little bit further, but don't push yourself. And take a couple of relaxing breaths here. We'll be here for 5 breaths. Maybe go a little bit deeper as you deepen into this pose, or as you hold this pose. And when we're here, we want to press the hips up and back and try and meet the belly button to the thighs here. So they don't have to make it there at all, but just use that intention to not let the lower back round. 1 more deep breath. Very nice. On the inhale, rise up. Try and lengthen those legs. So we find the place where we have a flat back and flat or straight legs. They can still bend here, but see if you can find a place where both things are lengthened, or both back and legs are lengthened. Then place the hands here on the thighs. Take a breath. Try and engage the back of the legs and the glutes. The next exhale, place the hands down on the mat. And from here, we're just going to step it back to our plank. Let's bring those wrists under the shoulders once you're here in plank. Try not to let the hips dip down. Keep them raised. And bring those shoulder blades to the outside. So not connected, you want to push them away from each other. Take a couple of deep breaths here in plank. On the next exhale, we're going to bend the knees, bring them down to the mat, bring the wrists under the shoulders here, and just take a breath in tabletop. Let that spine find a neutral position. So in tabletop, you want to look at our foundation, which is why we bring the wrists under the shoulders and the knees under the hips to stack the bones here. So we're starting nice and gently today. Then from here, we're going to tuck the toes under, peel the hips up and back, come into our first downward dog of the day. So walk the hands out a little bit if you need that space in your down dog. Press the hips up and back. Try and find length in the back and push through the hands here. So if we reverse the downward facing dog, you can also practice this kind of movement on a wall. You want to place those hands there and really press like you're pushing against the wall or holding up the ceiling here. But this time we take it to the ground and pretend like you're pressing away the floor. So keep the knees bent if you're feeling tight in the hamstrings as you do this. Tuck the lower ribs in just like we did in mountain. The upper body should feel similar to the motion we did in mountain when we raised our hands up overhead. If you have loose hamstrings or you're not so tight, then maybe try and straighten the legs, slightly reach the heels for the mat, and press those hips up and back even more. If you're tucking the ribs enough, you'll feel a nice opening or a nice stretch in the shoulders or the underarms here. 3 more deep breaths. Very nice. On the next inhale, come forwards back into that plank position. Check those wrists are under the shoulders again. On the exhale, bring the knees down to the mat, shift forwards and down. So come down between the hands. Slide the hands forward ever so slightly, untuck the toes so the tops of the feet are flat on the mat, and then inhale, rise up, engage the back muscles, press into the hands a little bit. So this is our Cobra pose. It can be just a baby cobra here. Or maybe you can press up a little bit higher, but keep those shoulder blades down the back here. And don't let the neck go loose. Lower it back down. Bring those hands just outside the ribs here. Then we're going to lift up off of the knees or onto the knees and lift the hips up and back into our tabletop. Bring those knees under the hips again, wrists under the shoulders, and again take 2 breaths here. Try and find that neutral back. This is a fantastic sequence if you're just waking up in the morning. I often do super slow yoga like this in the morning. That's a really good sequence if you're new to yoga. Next, exhale, curl the toes under, peel the hips up and back. Downward facing dog. So a lot of these movements we're doing are found in many yoga practices, but they might be done in a much quicker way. It's really nice to revisit the foundations every once in a while and get a feel for the poses. And I highly recommend to check your alignment. Go and take a look in a mirror for all of these poses. It really helps to get your body or to get your mind used to how your body feels in certain positions. mind to body connection. Very nice. Inhale, come back forwards to the plank. We're going to do it one more time. Exhale, bring the knees down to the mat, shift forwards and down, untuck the toes, lift the chest, come into that cobra. If you feel like you can go a little higher, press into the hands a little bit, help yourself rise up. Keep those legs on the mat. Then exhale, lower back down. Lift the hips up, come back into your tabletop, slide the hands back under the shoulders, and exhale, peel the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Remember to bend the knees, find that length in the back. Very good. From here, we're just gonna raise that right leg up, so make sure you have a nice base on the two hands and the left foot. Raise it up to your three-legged dog. Doesn't have to be very high, just try and raise that foot. Again, you can keep a nice bend in the left leg if you need to. Exhale, lower it back down, other side. Inhale, raise the left leg up. Exhale, lower it back down. Other side again, inhale, raise the right leg up. Exhale, lower it back down. Other side, inhale, raise left leg up. Lower it back down. One more time, right side, inhale, raise that right leg up. And on the exhale, we're going to try and step it between the hands. So really round through the back to help you step it up here. If you're landing here, that's okay. You can help it up and turn to the side a little bit. Or you can grab some blocks if you don't feel like you have the flexibility to bring the torso close to the leg for this. So if you need to be here with some blocks, that's okay. But from here, we're going to just lower that left knee down to the mat, untuck the left toes. And then on the inhale, rise up. Just like in mountain pose, tuck the ribs in. Try and create a nice neutral pelvis here, so we're not leaning too forwards. You want to engage our low lunge today. Hold for 3 deep breaths. Make sure the knee is stacked over that ankle, not in front of it. Very nice. Exhale, bring the hands down. Lift off of the left knee and just step that foot back. Drag it back if you need to. Come into the plank. On the exhale, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Next, inhale, raise the left leg up, three-legged dog. Exhale, round through the back, step it between the hands. Lower down onto the right knee. With the inhale, rise up, tuck lower ribs in. Engage the glutes. Make sure the knee is stacked over the ankle and either untuck the toes or keep them tucked under. I like to untuck for this variation. One more breath. Then exhale, bring the hands down to the mat, lift off of the right knee, and we're just gonna step that left foot back into plank. From here, take a breath. On the exhale, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. So another really important pose for beginners, because down dog is not a rest pose yet, is bringing the knees down to the mat, sliding the hands back towards the feet and coming into our child's pose, either resting the forehead on the mat or hovering here. You may have to work with your flexibility to make child's pose comfortable, but over time it'll be the most fantastic resting position, and over time even downward facing dog will become a nice resting position. So just find your comfort here. You can walk the hands out, hold here. Maybe you're up here in your child's pose and that's okay. Maybe you're able to come down with the forehead. Wherever you are, take a couple breaths. On the next inhale, rise on up. Place those hands if you need help coming up. And we're just going to swing the feet to one side and take a seat on the mat. So for beginners, sitting down on the ground can be quite tough because our hips aren't used to being open. Just try and find a nice comfortable seat where you can just gently open the hips, I often love coming into bound angle pose, but even this can be like a little bit crouched for some people. You find rounding in the back, and the hips may be a little tight for this. So just be gentle. You can find like a smaller variation of it. Just work on straightening the back here, finding that neutral spine while opening the hips. Find that comfy seat. And take a couple breaths wherever you are. Just gently let the hips open. Try and relax the muscles around the hips here. One more deep breath. On the next inhale, reach up. Flutter open the eyes if they were closed, and then exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, rise up. And just take a breath, take a moment, thank yourself for moving your body, for showing up for this challenge. So thank you so much for joining me. If you feel like you need to practice this sequence again, then definitely go for it. Get used to those movements. And that's day 1 complete. So congratulations, you've done day 1. And just like I said at the beginning, open the video tomorrow, come have a seat on your mat, and you'll already be in that mood to get moving. So thank you for practicing with me, and see you tomorrow.